Let's look at another type of material that is a little bit unique, and that is a volume material. And what volume materials allow us to do is kind of augment the volumetric fog system inside of Unreal. So let's take a look at what that means for us. Let's go to our content drawer, and I just made inside of a materials domain examples folder a material called m_volume01. Feel free to create this wherever you want. And once you have this created, we're going to open it up, and we're going to take a look at how we set this up. So the first thing we're going to need to do is under the materials domain, it is currently set to surface. We're going to be changing this to volume. As soon as we do that, we should get an error that says this must be in additive blend mode. So we'll go to blend mode, and we're going to set this to additive. At this point, our material basically disappears, and we get a few very basic pins. We get extinction, emission color, and albedo. Extinction is basically opacity in the context of volumes. So what we can do, for example, is I can just set a value of 1 to the extinction, and let's give this a color. So hold down the 3 key and left click, and we can come over here and just make it, let's say, red. And we've made a very basic volume texture. Now let's save this, and we're going to go actually apply this to a shape. So in your quick add to project, let's go to shapes and feel free to add either a cube or a sphere or a cylinder. So let's add this sphere, and we'll notice it doesn't do anything special for us. But if we go back to our content drawer and we drag our volume material onto it, it will take a second. And at first you'll notice it didn't do anything. It's just sitting here. It's what happened? It's invisible. Well, the one last thing we have to make sure we enable is that you have to make sure that you have an exponential height fog in your scene. And then also, once you're inside that, you need to scroll down to volumetric fog. Once we're there, we want to enable volumetric fog, and we'll see that our object has now appeared. Now, it isn't using the bounds of it because it is using the bounding box of our object to project it out. But this gives you a high-level idea of how this will start to work. What we could do now is scale or size our object here and be able to kind of put down localized fog in a particular area, which can be very handy for particular rooms in a game where you might want it to be a little smoky or a little bit different. And again, if we want to control the opacity, we really are looking at that extinction value. So if I come back in here and just kind of pull this to the side, if we set this lower to say 0.2 and apply, you'll notice now after the shader compiles, we have a much more subtle kind of effect going on. So we only have this kind of fogging only in the bottom. So this again can be really great for building out other types of more advanced localized fog, as well as controlling the color of said fog so that we can kind of add a little bit more atmosphere or effect into our levels and our materials. So hopefully now you understand a little bit more about how to build volume materials inside of Unreal Engine 5.